It was 11 o'clock at night. The rain outside came down in sheets, pounding against the windows with a sharp, relentless rhythm that set my nerves on edge. I sat on the couch in the living room, one hand resting protectively over my belly. 5 months along now, it had grown noticeably round. And sometimes the little one inside would give me a gentle kick. Every time I felt that flutter, my heart softened. On the table sat a pot of pork rib soup, Eric's favorite. I'd started waiting for him since 7 in the evening, reheating it twice already, just hoping he'd come home soon. Finally, I heard the jingle of keys at the door. I jumped up and rushed over to grab his slippers. As the door creaked open, a strong wave of alcohol hit me, mixed with a sickly sweet perfume I didn't recognize, a scent I hadn't smelled before. Ever since I got pregnant, I'd packed away all my fragrances, afraid they might harm the baby. Eric walked in, head bowed as he changed his shoes. His hair was soaked from the rain, strands plastered to his forehead. His jacket shoulders were drenched too. He looked both disheveled and irritable. I quickly picked up a dry towel and offered it to him. "Eric, why are you so soaked? Dry your hair, or you'll catch a cold. I made your favorite soup. It's still warm. I'll get you a bowl." Before I could finish, he suddenly raised his hand and slapped the towel out of mine. It landed on the floor with a wet splat, picking up the muddy water from his shoes. I froze, startled and stung. Still, I kept my voice steady. "What's wrong? Did something happen at work? If there's a problem, just talk to me. Don't take it out on things." "Talk to you?" Eric's head snapped up. His bloodshot eyes were blazing, and the look he gave me was nothing short of hateful. "Claire, stop pretending to be the perfect wife. Just looking at you makes me sick." His words cut through me like a knife. My throat tightened. Tears rushed to my eyes. We'd been married 2 years, not always lovey-dovey, sure, but never once had we had a real fight. No matter how tired he'd been from work, he'd always come home and speak to me kindly. But now, after just one business trip, he'd come back a stranger. I clutched the hem of my shirt, voice trembling. "Eric, what's going on? Did someone say something to you? Please don't treat me like this. What am I doing to you?" He stepped forward and grabbed my wrist so hard I gasped in pain. I tried to pull away, but couldn't. He stared at my belly, his eyes ice cold. "Claire, tell me the truth. Whose baby is that?" "What?" My head went blank, like I'd just been struck by lightning. I stared at him, stunned. "Eric, what are you talking about? Of course this baby is yours. We've been married all this time. I've never even been near another man. How can you say something like that? Mine." Eric gave a sharp laugh, bitter and mocking. "Claire, do you take me for a complete fool? I was out of town for work last month. It's been 3 months since I touched you. So where the hell did this baby come from? If it's not some bastard child, what is it?" But the night before your trip, tears spilled down my cheeks. I shook my head in disbelief. "You don't remember? We were together that night. That's when I got pregnant. How can you deny that? I've never cheated. Never, never." Eric let go of my wrist and pulled his phone from his pocket. With a loud slap, he threw it on the coffee table in front of me. The screen lit up to reveal a photo. Me, standing outside the hospital, with a man beside me. That man was my cousin. A few days ago, I'd gone for a prenatal checkup, and he had happened to be free, so he offered me a ride, but someone had taken a picture from just the right angle to make it look like we were uncomfortably close, intimate, even. "Look at this." Eric pointed at the screen, shouting now, "And you're telling me you didn't cheat? Claire, you've got some nerve, carrying another man's child while playing the innocent wife in front of me. Aren't you ashamed? It's not what you think." I snatched the phone, desperate to explain. "That's my cousin. He was just giving me a ride to the hospital. There's nothing between us. Whoever took that photo did it on purpose to make it look suggestive. Please, don't believe it." "Believe you?" Eric ripped the phone from my hands and hurled it to the ground. The screen cracked with a jagged snap, like my heart shattering inside my chest. His gaze bore into me, vicious and unrelenting. "I don't care how that photo was taken. All I know is, that baby in your belly is not mine. Tomorrow morning, you're going to the hospital to get it aborted. After that, pack your things and get out of this house. Don't ever come back." "I won't." I stepped back, clutching my belly tightly, tears streaming down my face. "This is my child, And yours, his 5 months along, he can move now, I can feel him. How can you ask me to kill him, Eric? How can you be so cruel? You're his father, how can you do this to your own child? Father, Eric sneered, crouching down and yanking my arm, dragging me closer to him. Claire, don't flatter yourself, I'm not the father of some bastard. I'll say this one last time. Tomorrow, you're getting rid of that thing, and you're leaving, if you don't. I'll make me. What are you going to do? I stared at his twisted face, fear and anger warring in my chest, but more than anything, I was furious. Eric, you have no proof, none, that this isn't your child, and you still want me to get an abortion and throw me out. That's too much. This is your baby. And I'll prove it, I swear I will. Eric threw back his head and laughed, loud and unhinged, like I'd just told the world's funniest joke. When he finally stopped, he reached out and patted my cheek, lightly, but with mocking contempt. Prove it, and how are you going to do that? Claire, get a doctor to say a few words and hope I'll buy it. Listen to me, you don't have the guts to go against me. You married me for my money, didn't you? You leave me, you'll have nowhere to go. You don't dare fight me. I didn't marry you for your money. I shoved his hand away, my tears falling, but my voice firm. I married you because I thought you were a good man. I thought we'd build a life together. I never imagined you'd turn out to be someone so blind and cruel. Save the nonsense. Eric stood up, straightening his clothes, his eyes turned cold again. I'll give you one night to think about it. Tomorrow morning at 8, I'll be waiting downstairs. Either you come with me to the hospital, or you pack your things and get the hell out. Don't make me drag you out myself. No one wants to see that happen. With that, he turned and headed toward the bedroom. At the doorway, he glanced back at me one last time. The look in his eyes was so cold, it made my whole body shiver. Then the door slammed shut with a bang, cutting me off from both him and the sound of rain outside. I sat on the cold floor, arms wrapped tightly around my belly. I could feel the baby move gently inside me, as if trying to comfort me. I wiped away my tears and made a silent vow. Don't be scared, baby. Mommy will protect you. I won't let anyone hurt you. Eric said I couldn't prove anything. Then I will prove it. I'll show him this child is his, and he'll regret everything he said and did tonight. For the rest of his life, the rain continued outside, but the fire burning inside me only grew stronger. I knew. From this moment on, there was no going back to how things used to be between Eric and me, but I wouldn't give in. I would gather the evidence, and I would defend myself and my child with dignity. Eric didn't come out of the bedroom again. I sat there on the living room floor for what felt like half the night. When dawn finally crept in, I pulled myself up with the help of the sofa. The baby had been quiet the whole time, perhaps sensing that Mommy was barely holding it together. I walked to the bathroom and stared at my reflection. My eyes were swollen like walnuts, my face pale, and a faint red mark still lingered at the corner of my mouth. Left from where Eric had grabbed me the night before, I looked like a wreck. I splashed cold water on my face to wake myself up. My thoughts cleared a little. Eric didn't believe me. He said I couldn't prove it. Then I'd prove it to him. I remembered reading online that a fetal DNA test could be done during the second trimester. It was more complicated than testing after birth, but still reliable. I pulled out my backup phone. Eric had smashed my main one the night before. Thankfully, I'd always kept an old phone in my bag, just in case I needed to reach my family. Scrolling through my contacts, I found the number for the OBGYN who had handled my prenatal care. Her last name was Wang, and she'd always seemed kind. I remembered her mentioning she had experience with prenatal DNA testing. My hands were trembling as I took a deep breath and dialed the number. Hello, Dr. Wang, it's Claire. I came to your clinic before for a checkup. I tried to keep my voice calm. I wanted to ask, can I do a fetal DNA test at 5 months pregnant? There was a brief pause. Then Dr. Wang replied gently, yes. Claire, it's possible, but we do need a sample from the father as well, and the process is more complicated than a regular checkup. Is something going on? A sample from the father. My stomach sank. Given Eric's current attitude, there was no way he'd cooperate. I bit my lip and said, Dr. Wang, the father isn't willing to participate right now. Is there another way? Like, could I secretly collect a sample? It's possible. she said after a pause. You could try to get hair, fingernails, or even a used toothbrush. Just make sure the sample isn't contaminated. Claire, is something wrong at home? If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. Her kind tone almost broke me. My eyes stung again. I'm okay, I said quickly, choking back the tears. Just some family problems. I want to prove the baby's paternity. When can I come to the hospital? Are you free this morning? She asked. If you are, come in. I'll start the paperwork, and once you bring the sample, we can get started. Yes, I'm free, I answered immediately. After hanging up, I finally felt like I had a plan. Next step, getting Eric's DNA sample. He was still sleeping in the bedroom. He'd drunk a lot the night before, so I figured he'd be out cold. I tiptoed to the bedroom door, which hadn't been shut all the way. Peeking in, I saw him lying on his side, facing away from me, deeply asleep. On the nightstand was the toothbrush he'd used the night before. I held my breath as I carefully opened the door and crept to the nightstand. The toothbrush sat in a cup, still with some foam clinging to it. I grabbed it quickly and sealed it in the Ziploc bag I'd prepared earlier. Then I tiptoed out of the room, praying I wouldn't wake him. With the sample in hand, I quickly changed clothes, grabbed the bag and my backup phone, and headed for the door. Just as I reached the entryway, I heard the bedroom door creak open. Eric came out rubbing his eyes, his hair a mess and his face still pale. Where are you going? His voice was hoarse, and his eyes were cold as ice. My heart skipped a beat. But I forced myself to stay calm. Just going out to buy a few things. We're out of groceries. Groceries? Eric let out a scornful laugh and stepped in front of me. I think you're trying to run away. Claire, I'm warning you. Don't play games. You're coming with me to the hospital today for that abortion. End of story. I'm not. I took a step back, shielding my belly with both hands. Eric, stop pushing me. I'm just going to the store. I'll be right back. Right back. More like trying to run off with my money. He lunged for my bag. Hand over your wallet. Let's see how far you think you can get. I clutched my bag tightly as Eric and I wrestled over it. He was too strong. I didn't stand a chance. Within seconds, the strap snapped. Everything spilled onto the floor. My backup phone, a sealed plastic bag, and a few $100s in cash. Eric noticed the plastic bag, frowned, and asked, "What's this?" My heart jumped. I quickly bent down to grab it. But he was faster. He snatched it up, opened it, and found his toothbrush inside. He froze for a second, then his expression twisted with fury. "Claire, why the hell do you have my toothbrush? What are you up to?" "I'm not up to anything," I stammered, my face draining of color. I just wanted to do a paternity test, to prove the baby is yours. Eric, can't you trust me? Just once, a test." He hurled the bag to the floor and stomped on it with all his strength. The toothbrush cracked under his foot. "You've completely lost it. Claire, I'm telling you, don't waste your time. Even if you get a test done, I won't believe it. And if you dare step 1 foot out of this house today, I'll throw out all your things." I stared at the mangled toothbrush, feeling both furious and desperate. Tears welled up in my eyes. "Eric, how can you be so unreasonable? This child is yours too. Why are you so eager to deny him? I told you, it's not my kid," he roared. Then jabbed a finger toward the door. "Either come to the hospital with me now, or stay put. But don't let me catch you pulling this crap again." He stormed back into the bedroom and slammed the door, locking it behind him. I crouched down and picked up the broken toothbrush, my chest aching, but I wasn't giving up. If the toothbrush was ruined, I'd find another sample. I remembered he'd thrown his clothes into the laundry basket the night before. His hair would still be on them. I walked out to the balcony where the washing machine was. Sure enough, his shirt from yesterday was still inside. I searched the collar and found a few strands of black hair, which I carefully sealed into a new plastic bag. This time, I was smarter. I tucked the bag deep into the inside pocket of my jacket, grabbed only a few bills from my wallet, and headed for the door again. Eric didn't come out to stop me this time. Maybe he thought I wouldn't dare run far, or that I couldn't pull off anything serious. I opened the door and stepped out quickly, one thought burning in my mind: I will get the test done. I will prove our innocence, mine and my child's. Just as I reached the entrance of our apartment complex, I ran into Mrs. Thompson from next door. She was always warm and helpful. Back when I first got pregnant, she used to bring me fresh fruit. Claire, sweetheart, where are you going? You look so pale. Did Eric do something to you? Her concern warmed me for a moment, and I was about to explain when Eric's voice called out behind me, Mrs. Thompson, no need to worry. It's just a silly little argument. She's being dramatic. Mrs. Thompson paused, looking back and forth between us, her eyes filled with suspicion. Eric walked up and grabbed my arm, forcing a smile. Thanks for your concern, but we really need to go. He pulled me along, and I heard Mrs. Thompson mutter behind us, that boy used to be so gentle with her. What happened? Eric didn't respond. He only tightened his grip. Once we were outside the complex, he let go abruptly and hissed, "Watch what you say out here. If I hear even a whisper of gossip, you'll regret it." I ignored him and turned toward the bus stop. He didn't follow, probably thinking I'd never go far. I boarded the bus. Hands pressed protectively over my belly, silently swearing to myself, I would get the results. I would make him pay for every cruel word and every ounce of doubt. At the hospital, I handed Dr. Wang the new hair sample. She prepared the paperwork, sent me for a blood draw, and explained the results would be ready in 3 days. After the blood test, I finally felt a bit calmer. However long it took, I'd wait. As long as it proved the truth, it would all be worth it. I didn't go straight home. Instead, I walked to a nearby park and sat quietly on a bench. I placed my hand gently over my belly and whispered, "Baby, Mommy will protect you. Once we get the results, Daddy will know you're his. And then, maybe we can be a family again." As if he understood, the baby gave me a little kick. I smiled. Even as tears slipped silently down my cheeks, I thought back to when Eric and I had first gotten together. He wasn't like this then. He used to be thoughtful. He remembered my birthday, took care of me when I was sick, comforted me when I cried, but somewhere along the way, he changed. He became cold, irrational, and unrecognizable. I sat in the park until the sky dimmed. When I finally returned home, the moment I opened the door, I saw Eric sitting on the couch with a dark expression on his face. The living room was a mess. My clothes were strewn across the floor, my makeup had been smashed to pieces. "Where the hell were you?" he asked, voice sharp and full of rage. I looked at the wreckage, a wave of pain and anger crashing over me. "Eric, why did you trash my things? I bought these myself. They have nothing to do with you, nothing to do with me." He stood and stepped toward me. "You eat my food, sleep under my roof, use my money, and you think your things are off limits. Let me make this clear, Claire, as long as you live in this house, everything you own belongs to me. If you don't come to the hospital with me today, I'll throw out every last thing you own." I stared into his twisted face and felt my heart go cold. There was no reasoning with him. Only that test result could shut him up. I didn't argue. I quietly knelt down and began picking up my clothes. One by one, I folded them and packed them into a suitcase. Then I took the suitcase into the guest room, locked the door, and shut myself inside. The next 3 days passed in painful silence. Eric and I lived under the same roof like strangers. He didn't speak to me, didn't cook for me. He either went out drinking or stayed in the bedroom glued to his phone. I made my own meals, went to my prenatal appointments alone, and counted the hours until the DNA results came back. Finally, on the afternoon of the 3rd day, Dr. Wang called. The results were in. My heart raced as I grabbed my things and rushed to the hospital. When I finally held the report in my hands, I was shaking so badly I could barely open it. But there it was. No evidence of external contamination. Results support Eric as the biological father of the fetus. The moment I saw those words, tears streamed down my face. Every moment of pain, every injustice. Suddenly, it was all worth it. Holding that report, only one thought filled my heart. "Eric, here it is. The proof you demanded. Now it's your turn to apologize. To me, and to our child." As I walked out of the hospital, the paper crinkled in my fist, creased and smudged by tears. But that line, "supports Eric as the biological father," made me feel stronger than I had in days. The wind brushed across my face, my cheeks were still wet, but I couldn't help smiling. Finally, I had the truth. Finally, I had proof. I didn't go home right away. Instead, I sat on a bench outside the hospital, staring at the report over and over, afraid I might have misread it. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a message from my best friend, Emily. Emily, what did the paternity test say? I hurriedly texted back, "It's Eric's, I've got the proof." Emily immediately called me, her voice more excited than mine. "That's amazing, Claire. Let's see how Eric's going to weasel out of this one now. Go show it to him right now. Make him apologize. I'm just about to head home," I replied with a smile. A weight had finally lifted off my chest. I hung up and started walking home, my steps lighter than they'd been in days, all the way back. I kept imagining Eric's reaction. Would he be shocked? Guilty? Either way, he owed both me and our child an explanation. As I reached the entrance to our building, I ran into Grandma Wilson from across the hall. She grabbed my hand the moment she saw me. "Oh, Claire, thank goodness you're back. Eric's mother came by yesterday. She was in the hallway gossiping with Mrs. Thompson, saying that the baby isn't from the Lin family and that Eric should divorce you. Please don't let them get to you. Your health comes first, dear." My heart skipped a beat. Eric's mom had actually come here, talking behind my back like that. No wonder Mrs. Thompson had been giving me strange looks lately. I forced a smile and said, "Thank you, Grandma Wilson, I'll take care of myself." After saying goodbye, anger started bubbling up again. Eric not trusting me was one thing, but now his mother was spreading lies too. Let's see what they have to say when I throw this DNA report in their faces. I rushed upstairs, pulled out my keys, and unlocked the door. The moment I opened it, I heard voices coming from the living room. "Mom, stop worrying. I'll make her get an abortion and then file for divorce," Eric was saying, his voice tinged with annoyance. "How can I not worry?" His mother's shrill voice snapped back. "What if Claire refuses to leave? If she causes a scene, what will people think of our family? And besides, you can't marry Sophie until you're divorced from her, right, Sophie?" My hand froze on the doorknob, and I didn't dare step inside. "Don't worry," Eric continued. "Claire can't live without me. She'll agree to the divorce eventually, and even if she doesn't, I'll make sure she does. The baby's not mine anyway. She can't prove anything. I'll take her to court and still win. Not yours." His mother laughed. "Oh, son, let me tell you something. I already looked into it. That baby, there's a pretty high chance it is yours." My heart sank. She knew. "Wait, what?" Eric sounded stunned. "How do you know that?" "You think I'm stupid," she scoffed. "I stayed at your place before your last business trip. Remember, you and Claire were still sharing a bed then. If she got pregnant around that time, of course the baby's yours. Then why did you tell me to leave her? Why say the baby wasn't mine?" "Oh, sweetie, you really don't get it." Her voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. "Sophie's family has money. Her father is one of your company's biggest clients. Marrying her would be great for your career. But Claire, she's just some girl from the countryside with no connections. What can she do for you?" "But, the baby is mine," Eric said, hesitating. "So what if it is?" His mother snapped. "You can have more kids with Sophie after you marry her. But if Claire keeps this baby, you won't be able to divorce her easily. Sophie will walk away. Then what? Everything you've worked for will go down the drain. I'm doing this for your own good." "But, no buts," she cut him off. "I already talked to Sophie. Once you divorce Claire, the engagement is on. Just keep pressuring Claire, force her to get rid of the baby. Make her so uncomfortable she'll have no choice but to leave. If she won't leave, make sure she can't even show her face around here." I stood frozen outside the door, my hands were trembling, and the DNA report nearly slipped from my fingers. So they knew, all along, they knew this child was Eric's. But they still tried to force me into an abortion and divorce, just so Eric could marry Sophie. I was shaking with rage, tears welled up in my eyes again, but this time, they were tears of fury. I had thought Eric simply didn't believe me. I hadn't realized he would discard his own flesh and blood just for the sake of his career and another woman. And his mother, she was even worse. All this, just for a so-called better match. I took a deep breath, clutched the report tighter, and pushed the door open. Eric and his mother were both stunned to see me. His face flushed instantly, and his mother jumped up in panic. "Claire, why are you back already?" she stammered. I ignored her. My eyes locked on Eric's, my voice trembling but firm. Eric, I heard everything, every word you just said to your mother. Eric went pale, his mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. His mother stepped forward quickly, trying to block my view. Claire, don't take it the wrong way, we were just chatting. I sneered, and slammed the DNA report down on the coffee table. Take a look. This is a prenatal DNA report. It clearly states that the baby is yours. You knew that already, didn't you? Yet you still tried to force me into an abortion, tried to push me into a divorce, just so Eric could marry Sophie. His mother picked up the report, glanced at it, and her face instantly darkened. She tossed it back on the table and pointed at me. So you went behind our backs and got a test done. How sneaky, even if the baby is Eric's. So what, you and Eric don't love each other anymore, a divorce is inevitable. No love. I looked at Eric. Is that true? You're really okay throwing me and our child away, just for your so-called career, for another woman? Eric kept his head down, avoiding my eyes. His mother chimed in again. Claire, listen to me, you can't force someone to love you, even with this report, you can't keep him. Be smart about it, agree to the divorce, and we'll give you a little compensation. Otherwise, you'll walk away with nothing. Compensation. I laughed, the sound broken by sobs. You think I'm something you can just use and throw away? Let me tell you, I'm not divorcing him, not unless he gives me and our baby a proper apology. He will take responsibility for everything he's said and done. Apologize. Eric's mother let out a cold laugh. Claire, don't push your luck. The fact that Eric was even willing to marry you was already a favor, and now you want him to apologize? You must be out of your mind. Eric finally looked up at me. There was guilt in his eyes, but also hesitation. Claire, I'm sorry, my mom's just looking out for me. Looking out for you. I cut him off. So hurting me and our child is how she shows love. Tell me, Eric, who is Sophie? When did you start seeing her? Eric's face turned a deeper shade of red. He opened his mouth but couldn't get a word out. His mother quickly jumped in. Claire, stop poking your nose where it doesn't belong. This has nothing to do with you. You've got two choices. Either divorce Eric, take some compensation, and walk away, or keep dragging this out and end up with nothing. I looked at Eric, and the last shred of hope in my heart died. I had thought that once he saw the DNA report, he'd feel ashamed, apologize, and want to make things right. But instead, he was still listening to his mother, still trying to push for a divorce. I took a deep breath, picked up the DNA report from the coffee table, carefully folded it, and placed it in my bag. Then I looked at Eric and his mother and said, I won't compromise. You want me to get divorced and abort this child? Not a chance. I'll take this report and show everyone what you've done to me. You will pay for this. With that, I turned and headed for the door. Eric rushed forward and tried to grab my arm. Claire, don't go. Let's talk this through. I shook off his hand and said coldly, there's nothing left to say. Eric, from today on, we're done. I opened the door and walked out quickly. Behind me, I could hear Eric's mother shouting, Claire, you come back here. If you dare spread this around, you'll regret it. I didn't look back. I kept walking. When I reached the bottom of the apartment complex, I pulled out my phone and called Emily. Emily, they've gone too far. They've known all along the baby is Eric's. But they still tried to force me to get an abortion and divorce him, just so he could marry someone else. Emily was furious on the phone. Those two are despicable. Claire, don't be sad. I've got your back. We're not letting this go. They owe you an explanation, and we're going to get it. I nodded, tears falling again. I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but I wouldn't back down. I had to protect my child. Eric and his mother would pay for what they had done. Instead of going home, I went to Emily's place. As soon as I arrived, she handed me a warm glass of water and told me to sit and talk. I told her everything. What had happened, what Eric and his mother had said, and about the DNA report. Emily was shaking with anger as she read the report. Unbelievable. Eric is scum, and his mother is a wicked hag. Claire, don't worry, I'll help you figure this out. We'll record everything they say from now on, with this DNA report and some recordings. We'll ruin them. I nodded. Her support gave me strength. With Emily by my side, I knew I wasn't fighting alone. I looked out the window and silently made a vow. Eric, You and your mother will pay for what you've done to me and our baby, down to the last cent. I stayed at Emily's overnight. The next morning, I woke up early. Emily had already come up with a plan. She wanted to wait for the right moment to gather more evidence, more recorded conversations, but I was impatient. I wanted to confront Eric right away, report in hand. I couldn't wait any longer. I wanted him to admit everything in front of everyone. Emily stopped me. Claire, don't act rashly. If you go straight to them, they'll just deny everything. Worse, they might snatch the report from you. We need to pick a moment when they can't lie their way out of it. She was right. Eric cared a lot about saving face. If I confronted him in front of his friends, he wouldn't be able to deny it. Just then, Emily's husband called. He had run into Eric's friend Mike earlier that morning and overheard that Eric would be having dinner with friends at their usual spot tonight, and was planning to announce some good news. We both guessed it was the divorce announcement. My heart sank, and then flared with anger. Perfect. He wants to throw a party. I'll give him a surprise. Let everyone see how he falsely accused me and abandoned his own child for another woman. Emily slapped her thigh. That's the spirit. I'll go with you tonight. We'll stand together. Let's make a few copies of the report, and I'll back up those recordings of him cursing at you. We'll see what kind of show he puts on then. That afternoon, we went to a print shop and made 5 copies of the DNA report. We also sorted the audio recordings on my phone to make sure everything would be ready to play. Around 6:00 p.m., we took a cab to the restaurant. Just as we arrived, we saw Eric's car parked by the curb. He was wearing a new suit, his hair slicked back, laughing and smoking with some friends outside. He looked like he was in a great mood. I took a deep breath, tightened my grip on the reports, and walked over with Emily. The moment Eric saw me, the smile on his face froze. Panic flashed in his eyes. Claire, what are you doing here? Who told you to come? His friends looked confused and glanced at one another. Mike stepped forward with a forced smile. Hey, Claire, you're here. Come on in. Eric was just saying he had something to announce. Announce what? I cut in, voice calm but firm, that he's divorcing me to marry that Sophie. Is that the good news? Eric's face turned crimson. He stepped forward, trying to grab my hand. Claire, don't say things like that. Let's talk at home. Talk at home. I yanked my hand back, pulled out the DNA report, and shoved it in front of him. Eric, you've been saying the baby isn't yours. You told me to get rid of it and get lost. Look at this. It's the paternity test. It says clearly the baby is yours. What else do you have to say? Eric stared at the paper, his hands trembling. He couldn't get a word out. His friends crowded around, craning their necks to see. Mike glanced at the report and blurted out, Eric, this says you're the father. Didn't you tell us the baby wasn't yours? What's going on here? Eric stammered, face flushed, eyes darting. This report, is this even real? Claire, did you fake this to trick me? Fake, I sneered, then pulled out my phone and hit play. The audio recording of Eric and his mother from a few days ago came through loud and clear. His mother saying, I already had someone check, that baby is probably yours, and Eric replying, Sophie's family has money. Marrying her will be good for your career. The phone's volume was turned up so loud that everyone around could hear the recording clearly. Eric's face instantly turned pale, and he began to tremble all over. His friends exploded with shock. Seriously, Eric, you knew the baby was yours and still forced your wife to get an abortion. You ditched your own son just to marry another woman. That's cold. Man, you told us she was sleeping around to justify the divorce. Turns out you were the liar all along. Eric lowered his head, his fists clenched tight, his face flushed red with shame. Suddenly, his mother appeared out of nowhere. She rushed over to shield Eric and pointed at me, shouting, Claire, you wicked woman, you came here just to embarrass us, didn't you? Waving around some fake report, playing a fake recording, trying to ruin Eric's life. Don't even dream about it. Fake. I calmly pulled out a stack of copies of the paternity report and handed them out to Eric's friends. Take a look, there's the hospital's official seal, the doctor's signature. Anyone can verify it's real, and this recording, listen carefully. Isn't that Eric's voice, and his mother's? The friends examined the papers, listened to the recording again, then started nodding. Yeah, the seal looks legit. That's definitely Eric's voice. And his mom's too. Panic flashed in Eric's mother's eyes. She lunged toward me, trying to snatch the phone from my hands. You conniving little witch, hand it over, now, or I swear I'll. Emily quickly stepped in, blocking her. What do you think you're doing? You really want to steal something in broad daylight? Claire has solid proof. Try anything funny again, and we'll call the police. Eric's mother backed off, then turned on her son. You useless brat, what are you standing there for? Get rid of her. You want everyone to laugh at our family. Eric slowly raised his head, his eyes full of guilt and anger. He looked at me and said in a hoarse voice, Claire, what do you want from me? Why are you pushing things this far? What do I want? Tears welled up in my eyes. I just want you to admit you were wrong. I want you to take responsibility. For me and for our child. You accused me of carrying another man's baby, forced me to have an abortion, threw me out, and plotted with your mother to get rid of me. Don't you feel even a shred of guilt? That child you denied was your own flesh and blood. How could you be so heartless? People around us began criticizing him. Eric, man, you really messed up. You should apologize. Yeah. She's your wife, and that was your baby. How could you treat her like that? You chose some other woman over your wife and child. That's just cruel. Eric's face went pale, then flushed again. He looked at me, then at his friends. His lips moved as if to speak, but no words came out. His mother kept yelling, Don't you dare apologize. She's just trying to blackmail us for money. Don't fall for it. Enough. Mom, Eric suddenly roared, then crouched to the ground, burying his head in his arms like he was in agony. I stared at him. But I felt no pity, only deep, overwhelming disappointment. I placed one of the reports in front of him. Eric, here's the evidence. Look at it yourself. I didn't come here to create a scene. I came to hear you admit your mistake, right here in front of your friends. I want you to say the child was yours. If you can't even do that, then there's nothing more to talk about. He stayed crouched for a long time. His friends tried to persuade him. Come on, Eric, just admit it. You're in the wrong here. She's got proof. What are you waiting for? Finally, Eric stood up, eyes full of guilt, and said in a hoarse voice, Claire, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I never should have accused you. Never should have forced you to abort. The baby was mine. Hearing those words made my tears fall harder. I had waited so long to hear them. I looked at him and said, An apology isn't just words. Eric, what you did to me, and to our child, can't be undone with a simple sorry. If you truly regret it, then prove it. Think about how you're going to make it right. Eric nodded slightly, about to speak when his mother suddenly grabbed his arm. Eric, are you insane? Why are you apologizing? What about Sophie? What about your career? Eric's gaze started to flicker again. He looked at his mother, then back at me. His lips parted, but he said nothing. And just like that, the last bit of hope in my heart disappeared. I realized that even if he apologized, he'd never truly change. He only cared about himself and his ambitions. Not me, and certainly not our child. I took a deep breath, wiped away my tears, and said, Eric, don't bother thinking it over anymore. Since you care so much about your career and about Sophie, then let's just get divorced. I'll take the child, and you'll be out of our lives for good. His eyes widened. Claire, you want a divorce? Yes, I said firmly. I won't stay married to someone as selfish and heartless as you. I'll find a lawyer and start the process. I'll raise the child myself. I don't need you. But you will pay child support until they're an adult. With that, I turned and walked away. Emily followed close behind. From behind, I could hear Eric's mother yelling, Fine, get divorced, see if anyone wants you with a kid, and Eric's voice shouting, Claire, wait, let's talk about this. I didn't look back, I just kept walking, stepping out of the restaurant into the evening breeze. I felt oddly relieved. My heart still ached, but mostly, I felt free. I knew that without Eric, the baby and I would have a much better life. We had barely walked a few steps when Eric came running after us. He grabbed my wrist tightly, his voice frantic. Claire, don't go, let's talk about the divorce. Don't make such a rash decision. I tried to pull my hand away, but he held on too tightly. Talk, Eric, what's left to talk about? You only care about your career and Sophie. To you, I never mattered. And neither did our baby. This divorce is the best thing for both of us. That's not true, I didn't mean it like that. Eric's face was flushed with desperation. His eyes begged me. I know I messed up. I shouldn't have accused you or forced you to get an abortion. I swear I won't do it again. Please, don't leave me. Don't divorce me, Claire. People passing by stopped and stared at us, whispering among themselves. Emily couldn't bear it anymore and stepped forward, trying to pull Eric's hand away. Eric, let go of her. Claire's made it clear. Stop pestering her. But Eric didn't listen. Instead, he tightened his grip even more. Suddenly, with a loud thud, he dropped to his knees. The crowd gasped. Eric looked up at me, eyes red, voice trembling with tears. Claire, I know I messed up. I really do. Please, just forgive me this once. Okay, I swear I'll treat you and the baby right. I'll cut all contact with Sophie. I'll transfer everything I own to your name. Just, don't divorce me. I'm begging you. As he spoke, he started slapping himself. Smack, smack, the sound echoing loudly. After a few strikes, his cheeks were bright red. People in the crowd started murmuring, "What's going on? Wasn't he all tough just now? Why's he kneeling? He does look pitiful. But why apologize only after the damage is done? She's pregnant and got falsely accused. No way I'd forgive that either." I stared at Eric, kneeling before me, and felt nothing but bitter irony. Now he realizes he was wrong. Where was this remorse when he forced me to abort? When he cursed me for carrying someone else's child? Eric, stop putting on a show. I'm not going to forgive you. I said coldly. Stand up. Let's end this decently. Don't make this a public spectacle. I'm not getting up, not unless you forgive me, Eric insisted, landing a few more hard slaps on his face. Claire, I was a terrible person. I hurt you and the baby. I deserve this, but I truly want to make it right. Please, just give me one more chance. His mother came running out and saw him kneeling there. She was furious and stomped her foot. Eric, are you insane? Why are you kneeling to her? Get up. The Lin family hasn't fallen that far, but Eric ignored her completely. He remained on his knees, begging me for forgiveness. More and more people gathered around, some even taking out their phones to film. Emily tugged on my arm and whispered, Claire, let's not stay here. Too many eyes. This'll just get worse. We should go. I nodded and said to Eric, get up. We'll talk later. Don't embarrass yourself any further. I turned and walked away. Eric scrambled to his feet and tried to follow me again. But this time, his mother grabbed him. Don't chase after her anymore. She's made up her mind. Even if you beg her, it's useless. Held back by his mother, Eric could only watch as Emily and I walked away. I could feel his gaze burning into my back, but I didn't turn around. I knew if I did, everything I'd fought to hold onto would fall apart. Back at Emily's house, I finally let out a long breath. She handed me a cup of hot water. You did the right thing back there, she said. He doesn't deserve your forgiveness. Guys like him only panic when they lose control. Now he's scared. Where was all that fear before? I nodded and sipped the hot water, my heart slowly calming, but I knew Eric wouldn't give up so easily, and sure enough, the next morning, I was woken by a knock on the door. When I opened it, Eric was standing there. His eyes were swollen, his face still marked from the slaps, looking utterly worn out. He held a bag of breakfast and a small jewelry box. Claire, I brought your favorite, soy milk and fried dough sticks. And this, he opened the box. I bought this necklace for you yesterday. I think it'll look beautiful on you. I didn't take any of it. Eric, stop wasting your time. I'm not going to forgive you. I've already contacted a lawyer. You'll hear from them soon. I don't want a lawyer. I won't divorce you, he blurted out, trying to shove the food and the box into my hands. Claire, I know you're angry. Hit me, yell at me. I'll take it all. Just don't divorce me. I'll do anything you ask, anything. I stared at him, then cut ties with your mother. Never contact Sophie again. Can you do that? Eric froze. He didn't say a word. I let out a cold laugh. See, you can't. You're not trying to make things right. You're just afraid. Afraid of losing face. Afraid of losing everything you have. You've never truly cared about me or the baby. It's always been about you. That's not true. I can do it. I'll talk to my mom. I'll cut Sophie off completely. I'll do anything. Just don't leave me. Stop lying to me. I'm done believing you. I turned to shut the door, but Eric grabbed the doorframe to stop me. Then his eyes landed on the paternity report I had left on the coffee table, and something snapped in him. Suddenly, he rushed in, grabbed the report, and tried to tear it up. "What are you doing? Let go," I shouted, rushing to stop him. "I won't let you divorce me if I destroy this report. What proof do you have? You can't divorce me without it." His eyes were bloodshot as he yanked at the paper. We struggled. Emily heard the commotion and ran out of her room to help, but Eric was too strong. In just a few seconds, the paternity report was ripped to shreds. He let the pieces fall to the floor, panting, eyes wild. "Let's see you divorce me now. Without that report, no one can prove the baby's mine. You're not leaving me. Not in this lifetime." I stared at the torn pieces on the floor, anger and despair surging in my chest. Tears welled up and fell uncontrollably. I never imagined Eric would go this far. So desperate, so deranged. Emily pointed at him, shaking with rage. "Eric, you've lost your mind. You really destroyed the paternity report. Claire, don't argue anymore. Call the police. He just tampered with evidence." The word police seemed to jolt Eric. Panic flickered in his eyes. "Claire, I didn't mean to. I was just scared. I don't want a divorce. Please don't call the police, okay? I'll go back to the hospital with you. We can do another paternity test. Please, just let's start over. I don't need it anymore." I wiped away my tears and looked straight at him. "Eric, even without that paternity report, I can still divorce you. Tearing it up only makes me more determined. Go. I don't want to see you again." Eric opened his mouth as if to say something, but my unwavering gaze and Emily's furious glare beside me made him falter. He finally let go of my hand, his voice hoarse. "Claire, I won't give up. I'll wait until you forgive me." Then he slowly turned and walked away, watching his retreating back. I felt nothing, no sadness, no hesitation. I knew this battle wasn't over. Eric would come back again, but I wouldn't back down. I would go through with the divorce and start a new life with my child. Emily crouched beside me, picking up the shredded pieces of the paternity report. "Claire, don't let this get to you. It's a good thing you made several copies earlier. No big deal. We'll go see a lawyer tomorrow and get the divorce papers started. You've wasted enough time on him." I nodded, silently swearing to myself, "Eric, for the pain you've caused me and this child, I will make you pay. Tearing that report won't save you. I'll use whatever evidence I can find to make sure you walk away with nothing, and regret every step for the rest of your life." After Eric left, Emily and I stayed on the floor, still gathering the torn paper scraps. A few sharp edges pricked my fingers, tiny stings, like the pain in my heart, densely packed and persistent. Emily grumbled as she picked up the mess. "Eric is insane, tearing up the report like that. He's totally lost it. Don't worry, Claire. Tomorrow we're finding the best lawyer out there. He won't get away with this." I nodded again, but my heart was uneasy. Eric was acting unhinged, and his mother was fiercely protective. Getting a smooth divorce would be far from easy, sure enough. Early the next morning, before I'd even gotten out of bed, someone started pounding violently on my door. A shrill voice rang out, "Claire, open up, you vixen. Seducing my son and now you want a divorce. You must have a death wish." I rushed to the door and peeked through the peephole. Eric's mother stood there, flanked by 3 relatives, all looking fierce and angry, and 2 of them holding sticks. The noise had woken Emily too. She came running. "Claire, don't open the door," she said urgently. "They're here to cause trouble. If you open it, things will only get worse." With no response from inside, Eric's mother pounded harder. "Claire, if you don't open up, I'll break this damn door down. You think hiding in there will save you? You're making up with my son today whether you like it or not." Neighbors began to poke their heads out to see what was going on. Mrs. Thompson across the hall called out gently, "Mrs. Lynn, please calm down. Let's talk this out, okay? You're waking up the whole building. Talk this out," Eric's mother snapped, turning to glare at her. "Mind your own business. This slut's carrying my son's child and still wants a divorce. She needs to be taught a lesson." She signaled one of the burly relatives to break down the door. He stepped back, then rammed forward with all his strength. The door creaked loudly under the impact, on the verge of giving in. My palms were sweating. Emily quickly pulled out her phone. Don't panic, Claire. I'm calling the police. Eric's mother lunged, trying to grab Emily's phone. Don't call the cops, it's a family matter. We don't need outsiders meddling. Emily dodged, speaking into the phone. Hello, officer, we've got a disturbance here. They're trying to break down our door. The address is. Realizing she couldn't stop her, Eric's mother backed off but kept screaming. Claire, you heartless wench, my son treated you so well and this is how you repay him. You want a divorce, fine. But don't expect a single cent. The house, my son bought it, the savings, all from my son's hard work. You'll walk away with nothing, and let's see who'll want you. With a kid in tow, I stood behind the door, trembling with anger. She dared say Eric treated me well. Had she forgotten all the things he'd done to me? I took a deep breath and shouted through the door, Mrs. Lynn, stop spouting nonsense. Eric may have bought the house, but we paid the mortgage together after getting married. That makes it joint property, the savings, too. I'm entitled to half. There's no way I'm walking away with nothing. You want to talk property, she shrieked. You've been living off my son, eating his food, sleeping in his house, spending his money, and now you want half. If you dare divorce him, I'll go to your company and ruin your reputation. I'll go to your hometown and make sure everyone knows what kind of ungrateful tramp you really are. Her insults grew more vicious, and the neighbors started murmuring. I clenched my fists, tears brimming, but I refused to let her see me cry. Just then, I heard the sound of sirens outside. Eric's mother's face turned pale. She quickly told her relatives to hide the sticks. Moments later, the police arrived. After getting the full story, one of the officers turned to Eric's mother. Forcing entry and disturbing the peace is illegal. If this continues, we'll be forced to take action. If you have a dispute, take it to court. Don't create chaos in a residential building. Eric's mother tried to argue, but the officer cut her off firmly. Even if it's a family matter, you still have to follow the law. If your daughter-in-law wants a divorce, let the court handle it. Keep this up, and we'll take you down to the station. She had no choice but to leave, grumbling under her breath as her relatives trailed behind. The officers turned to Emily and me, reminding us to stay safe and call again if trouble arose. After they left, the neighbors also began to disperse. Mrs. Thompson came over and said softly, Claire, don't let this get to you. Eric's mother is always like that. Don't take her words to heart. If you need anything, just let me know. I nodded, genuinely touched. Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. Once she left, Emily looked at me worriedly. Claire, she won't give up. We need to move fast. Get that lawyer and file as soon as possible. The longer we wait, the harder it'll get. I agreed and immediately pulled out my phone. I remembered a law firm someone had recommended for tough divorce cases and called to book an appointment for the afternoon. That afternoon, Emily and I visited the firm. The lawyer, Linda, was a sharp-looking woman in her 40s who radiated confidence. I explained everything. Eric accusing me of carrying another man's child, pressuring me to get an abortion, tearing the report, and his mother's harassment. I also gave her the photocopies of the paternity report and our audio recordings. Linda frowned as she listened. Claire, in your case, the divorce will definitely go through. In fact, you can ask for a lot more, since Eric is clearly at fault. And you're the aggrieved party, especially while pregnant. You can demand higher child support and even compensation for emotional distress. My heart lifted. Really? So his mom was lying when she said I wouldn't get a penny? Of course she was. Linda smiled. That house, you paid the mortgage together. It's joint property. The savings, too, you're entitled to half, and if you can prove Eric was cheating with that woman, Sophie, was it, you could get even more. Emily jumped in. We have screenshots of their chats and pictures of them dining together. Do those count as evidence? They absolutely do, Linda said. That's more than enough to show he was unfaithful. It will strengthen your case significantly. You should also gather any recordings or videos of his mother harassing you. All of that can be submitted in court. We left the office feeling a weight lifted. That night, Emily and I started collecting more evidence. She even contacted a friend who worked as a private investigator, Later that evening, the investigator sent over a video. It showed Eric walking into a hotel hand in hand with a young, attractive woman, presumably Sophie. The footage was clear, they looked extremely close. Watching the video, I didn't feel pain anymore, just calm. With this evidence, I could end this marriage on my own terms and get what I deserved, but I never expected Eric's mother to retaliate so soon. The next morning, as I arrived at work, I saw her outside the building with two relatives. The moment she spotted me, she rushed over, grabbed my arm, and started shouting to my co-workers, "Everyone, look at this woman. She's carrying my son's child and still wants to divorce him. And she wants his money too. Someone tell me, is that fair?" People started gathering around, whispering and staring. My face flushed with embarrassment. I tried to shake her off. "Stop this nonsense. This is my workplace. Get out of here." "I'm not leaving," she shrieked. "Everyone should see who you really are. You seduced my son and now you want a divorce to grab his money. You're a heartless little witch." Just then, my manager stepped outside, frowning. This is a workplace. If you continue causing trouble, we will call the police." Eric's mother was completely unfazed. "Go ahead, call the police. I want everyone to see this woman for who she really is." I looked around at the strange expressions on my colleagues' faces, a mix of embarrassment and anger welling up inside me. Suddenly, I remembered the video I had on my phone, footage of Eric living with Sophie. I quickly pulled it up and turned to face everyone. "Don't believe a word she says. I'm not the one who wanted a divorce. Eric cheated first. He's been living with this woman, accused me of carrying another man's child, and even tried to force me into an abortion. This is a video of the two of them cohabiting. See for yourselves." In the video, Eric and Sophie were shown cooking together, watching TV in a rented apartment, like a married couple in every way. When it ended, the crowd began murmuring, "So that's what really happened. I thought Claire was the one in the wrong. But her husband cheated on her. What a scumbag. Cheated and then blamed his wife for everything. What a piece of work." And Eric's mother still had the nerve to come here and make a scene. She's just embarrassing herself now. Eric's mother went pale as she saw the video. She lunged at my phone in a panic. "That video's fake. You forged it. You're trying to frame us. It's easy to verify if it's fake," I replied, putting my phone away. "Mrs. Lin, if you keep making a scene, I'll send this video to the press and let everyone see what your precious family is really like." She recoiled, finally silenced. My manager stepped in immediately. Please leave. If you don't, we will call the police." With no other choice, Eric's mother left in defeat, dragging her relatives with her. My co-workers quickly gathered around me to offer comfort. "Claire, don't feel bad. Honestly, it's a good thing to cut ties with someone like that. Yeah, if there's anything we can help with, just let us know." I nodded, warmth stirring in my chest. No matter how much Eric and his mother tried to stir up trouble, they couldn't change the truth. I was going to win this divorce, raise my child with dignity, and make them pay for everything they had done. After Eric's mother left in disgrace, my colleagues stayed with me for a while, offering support. I smiled and thanked them, but deep inside, I felt like a heavy stone was pressing down on my chest. I knew this calm wouldn't last long. Knowing them, they would come up with some other stunt soon. Sure enough, that very evening, just as I returned to Emily's place, my phone started buzzing like crazy. I opened it to find dozens of messages from Eric's relatives. Some accused me of being ungrateful, others told me not to make things too ugly. A few even threatened me, saying I'd regret it forever if I didn't back down. Emily peeked over and saw the messages, grinding her teeth in frustration. Unbelievable. How can they twist everything like this? Eric was the one who cheated, and now they're blaming you. Claire, ignore them. Let's stick to the plan. We'll sort all the evidence and send it to Linda first thing tomorrow. I nodded and took a deep breath, starting to go through my phone, in the rush to gather proof of Eric's affair. I hadn't looked closely at their chat logs. Now that I had time to read them carefully, the bile rose in my throat. Eric had been texting Sophie things like calling me dull and uneducated, plotting how to manipulate me into filing for divorce, and even promising her a diamond ring once he was free. Every word felt like a needle stabbing into my heart. I took screenshots of the entire conversation and pulled out the photos the private investigator had sent. Eric buying Sophie designer bags, holding hands with her at an amusement park, even touring apartments together. I had an entire album full of damning evidence. The more I looked, the calmer I became. I zipped the files and sent them all to Linda. The next morning, Linda replied saying the evidence was strong enough and she'd already begun drafting the lawsuit. I could sit tight and wait. But before any legal action could be filed, Eric showed up. He was standing outside Emily's building holding a massive bouquet of roses. The moment he saw me, he rushed over, eyes red. "Claire, I know I messed up, please. Just give me one more chance. I've already cut things off with Sophie. I threw away everything she gave me. Look." He pulled out his phone and showed me his recent messages to Sophie. All of them were filled with insults, calling her a manipulative gold digger, claiming he never truly loved her and had just made a stupid mistake. I stared at the screen, unamused. "Eric, what's the point of saying all this now? Where was your conscience when you were with her, when you falsely accused me? When you tried to force me into an abortion, it was my mother's fault. She told me the baby wasn't mine." I lost my head. He immediately pushed the blame onto his mother and stepped forward, trying to hug me. "Claire, please, I know I was wrong. Let's go home, okay? The baby's almost here. He needs a father. Whether or not this child has you as a father doesn't matter," I said coldly, stepping away from his reach. "What matters is, I don't want my child to grow up with a father who cheats, lies, and tried to erase him before he was even born. Eric, stop pestering me. The lawyer's already preparing the lawsuit. I'll see you in court." His face turned ghostly white. For a moment, he just stood there, stunned. Then suddenly, he grabbed my arm. "You're really that heartless? You'd throw away our family over this? I didn't destroy this family. You did." I yanked my arm free and turned to go upstairs. Just then, Emily came down with the trash. Seeing Eric, she narrowed her eyes. "Eric, what the hell are you doing here? Claire's already made herself clear. Keep bothering her, and we're calling the cops." Eric looked at Emily, then back at me. In the end, he didn't dare follow me upstairs. He just stood there shouting, "Claire, I'm not giving up. I'll make you forgive me. I swear." I ignored him and went straight inside to pack my things. I didn't want to impose on Emily any longer, and I definitely didn't want to keep exposing her to Eric's drama. I decided to move in with my mother for a while. But just as I finished packing, my phone rang. It was my mom, and she sounded panicked. "Claire, you need to check the Lin family group chat. Eric's father is in the hospital, and they're saying it's your fault." My heart skipped a beat. I opened the group chat. Eric had once insisted I join, though I rarely spoke in it, and was immediately met with a barrage of messages blaming me. Eric's aunt wrote, "Claire is so unreasonable, forcing Eric into a divorce and airing his dirty laundry." As soon as Dad Lin heard about it, he had a heart attack and was rushed to the hospital. His uncle added, "If Claire has any conscience left, she'll get back with Eric and stop stressing out the old man." Others chimed in, calling me heartless and selfish. My hands were shaking with rage. I was about to fire back when I saw a message from Emily. She had managed to get into the family group earlier through one of Eric's friends. For evidence gathering, she'd already spoken up for me. Let's not twist the truth. Eric was the one who cheated, accused Claire of carrying someone else's child, and pressured her to get an abortion. If Mr. Lin's sick, it's because he's disappointed in his son, not because of Claire. Don't blame the victim. But her message was quickly drowned out. Eric's mother even sent a voice message, sobbing, "If something happens to old Lin, I'll never forgive Claire. Claire, if you have a shred of decency left, come to the hospital right now and apologize, beg for his forgiveness." Reading those messages, I was torn between anger and helplessness, unsure what to do. Emily called me right away. "Claire, don't panic. They're just trying to pressure you into backing down. Whatever you do, don't go to the hospital. They'll gang up on you." I already called Linda. She said this is emotional blackmail. You don't owe them anything. I nodded, took a deep breath, and decided to completely ignore the Lin family from now on. But I never expected Eric to take it a step further. He called my mother directly. Soon enough, my mom phoned me, her voice full of concern. "Claire, Eric just called me crying. He said he knows he was wrong. He told me his father's in the hospital and begged you to come visit. Claire, maybe you should just go see him. After all, he's an elder. If something really happens to him, it wouldn't sit well on our conscience. I knew my mother meant well, but I also knew that if I stepped into that hospital, Eric and his mother would never let me leave. I tried explaining to her, telling her it was a trap, that they were manipulating me, and that I'd handle it. She was skeptical but eventually agreed, reminding me to stay safe. After hanging up, I felt awful. I had never wanted things to get this ugly, but Eric and his family had pushed me to the point where I had no choice but to fight back. Just then, my phone rang again. It was Linda. Claire, I have some good news. Eric's father is indeed in the hospital, but his condition isn't serious. The doctor said it was brought on by chronic hypertension and stress. It has nothing to do with you. Also, I've officially submitted the divorce petition to the court. Eric will be notified soon. The relief that washed over me was immense. Linda continued, right now, your only priority is to protect yourself and your baby. Don't let the Lin family get to you. If they harass you again, call the police, or call me. I'll take care of it. I thanked her and hung up. Then I turned to Emily. Let's move to my mom's tomorrow. I don't want to stay here any longer, and I can't let Eric keep showing up. Emily nodded. All right, I'll help you pack. We'll leave first thing in the morning. The next day, just as we were loading our suitcases into the car, Eric came running toward us. He looked worn out, bloodshot eyes, messy hair, and a haunted expression. He rushed over and grabbed my hand. Claire, please, my dad's in the hospital. Just go see him, okay? For my sake, for the baby's. I know I was wrong. I'll make it right. I'll treat you well from now on. Don't divorce me. Please, I'm begging you. Tears streamed down his face. He looked genuinely pitiful. Emily quickly pulled his hand off me. Eric, stop harassing Claire. Your father being in the hospital has nothing to do with her. If you really care, go take care of him. Leave Claire alone. I am taking care of him. I've been by his side every day, Eric cried. But he said if I don't make up with Claire, he won't eat. Claire, please, just see him once. Just one time. That's all I ask. I looked at Eric, but I didn't feel a shred of sympathy. Only exhaustion. I could see right through him. This wasn't about love or remorse, it was manipulation, plain and simple. I shook his hand off and said coldly, I'm not going to see your father, and I'm not getting back together with you. We'll settle this in court. Without another word, I got into the car. Emily climbed in after me and started the engine. Eric tried to chase after us, but the car was already moving. In the rearview mirror, I watched him grow smaller and smaller until he disappeared from view. Only then did I finally feel a real sense of peace. When we arrived at my mother's house, she immediately came out to greet us, grabbing my hand with worry in her eyes. Claire, are you all right? You don't look so good. Have you been pushing yourself too hard? I shook my head and leaned into her embrace. Tears finally spilling over. I'm okay, Mom, just a little tired. I'm going to stay with you from now on. Take care of you, and my baby. She held me close, patting my back as she cried with me. Good, good, from now on, it's just the two of us. We'll live a peaceful life. No more dealing with awful people. Over the next few days, I stayed with my mom and focused on resting and recovering. I stayed in touch with Linda from time to check on the lawsuit. She told me that the court had already served Eric the papers. At first, he tried to deny everything, but once he saw the mountain of evidence we'd submitted, he had nothing left to say. His father had also been discharged from the hospital, and after learning the truth, he was so disappointed that he stopped defending Eric altogether. I knew then, I was going to win. One night, as I lay in bed, I gently touched my belly and whispered, just a little longer, baby, soon. We'll be free of all these horrible people. We'll start fresh. Mommy's going to give you a safe, happy life. As if the baby heard me, I felt a gentle kick. I smiled through tears, my heart filling with hope. I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but as long as my child and I were together, I could get through anything. After 2 weeks at my mom's house, life finally began to feel stable. Each morning, she made me steamed egg custard. In the afternoons, we'd go for walks around the neighborhood. In the evenings, we curled up to watch TV dramas. It was the kind of peace I'd never had during my marriage to Eric, Linda called me twice during that time. The first time, she said Eric had agreed to the divorce but wanted to pay less child support. She shut that idea down immediately. The second time, she told me that Eric had fully caved. He now agreed to pay the legally mandated amount for child support and had also consented to convert his share of the house, our jointly repaid mortgage, into a cash settlement. I'd also get half of our savings. I was in the middle of making dumplings with my mom when I got the call. The wrapper nearly slipped from my fingers. "What's wrong, Claire?" my mom asked, worried. "Is something bad happening?" I shook my head and smiled. "No, it's good news. Eric agreed to the divorce and to divide the assets fairly. We won't have to deal with him anymore." My mother froze for a moment, then tears welled in her eyes. "Good, that's so good, Claire. Now we can finally live in peace. Just the two of us. We'll never have to put up with him again." A few days later, Linda called to tell me the divorce papers were ready to sign. I asked Emily to come with me. I wasn't taking any chances with Eric pulling another stunt. When we arrived at the law office, Eric was already there, dressed entirely in black. He looked even more haggard than before. His eyes were bloodshot, and when he saw me enter, he stood up abruptly as if he wanted to say something. But nothing came out. Linda placed the divorce agreement in front of us and pointed at the terms. "Eric, Claire, please review the contract. If everything looks good, sign here. The terms are very clear, 870,000 yuan in joint savings. Claire receives 425,000. The mortgage paid during the marriage is converted to a cash settlement. Eric will pay Claire 350,000, and after the baby is born, Eric will pay 5,000 yuan in monthly child support until the child turns 18. I picked up the agreement and carefully read each line. Once I confirmed everything was in order, I reached for the pen, but Eric suddenly grabbed my hand. "Claire," he rasped. "Can't you give me just one more chance? I know I messed up. I swear I'll change. I'll be there for our child." Eric," I interrupted, pulling my hand away, "sign the papers. There's nothing left between us. This is what's best for all of us, including the baby." Pain clouded his eyes, but he slowly picked up the pen and signed his name. I followed, handing the documents back to Linda. She smiled as she took them. "That's it. As of today, your divorce is official, Claire. Don't worry. If Eric violates any part of this agreement, I'll help you file for enforcement." As we walked out of the office, Eric tried to follow us, but I ignored him and left quickly with Emily. In the car, she turned to me with a big smile. "Claire, congratulations. You're finally free of that jerk. From now on, you can focus on your baby and your life. Everything's going to get better." I nodded and looked out the window, my heart light for the first time in months. Sure enough, over the next few days, Eric transferred the agreed sums to my account. With my mom's help, I found a small 2-bedroom apartment near our neighborhood. It wasn't large, but it was cozy and more than enough for me, my child, and my mom. On moving day, Emily and a few friends came to help. Everyone pitched in, making the place feel like home. That night, we had hot pot together, and my mom even made special egg soup to nourish me. Sitting there, surrounded by warmth, laughter, and people who truly cared, I felt like everything I had endured had finally been worth it. But I didn't expect Eric to show up at my new place. It was right after dinner, just as I was about to head out for a walk with my mom. I saw him standing downstairs, clutching a toy car, looking lost and hesitant. When he spotted me, he rushed over and held out the toy. "Claire, I bought this for the baby. I thought maybe after he's born, he could play with it." "Eric, please go home." I gently pushed the toy back toward him. The divorce agreement was very clear. If you want to see the child, contact me in advance. There's no need to show up unannounced. I just wanted to see you, to see if you were doing okay. His voice was thick with emotion. Your new place is nice. Your mom's here too. You must be happy, right? I am, I said calmly. You don't need to worry about me. With that, I started walking toward the neighborhood gate with my mom, but Eric suddenly rushed forward, grabbed my arm, and dropped to his knees, tears streaming down his face. Claire, I know I was horrible. I know I hurt you and our baby. I deserve everything that's happened, but I'm begging you, please, just one more chance. I'll be better. I'll never talk to another woman again. I'll be a good husband, a good father. Eric, don't do this. I tried to pull him up, but he refused to budge. Neighbors were already gathering, whispering and pointing. My mom tried to help. Eric, get up. Let's talk like adults. Don't kneel here in public. It's not appropriate. But he stayed there, crying harder. I ruined everything. I regret it every day. I think about you and the baby all the time. Claire, please, I'm so sorry. I looked at him, kneeling there, and felt nothing. No pity, no anger, only exhaustion. I took a deep breath. Eric, get up. We're divorced. We're never getting back together. If you really care about the baby, stop doing this. Don't let him see you like this in the future. You'll always be his father. And I won't stop you from seeing him. But that's all we'll ever be, his mom and dad, nothing more. Eric looked up at me and saw in my eyes that I meant every word. Finally, he stood up, wiping his tears. Okay, I understand. I'll follow the agreement. I'll visit the baby, and I'll be the father he deserves. Just take care of yourself, and take care of him. He turned and walked away, step by step, shoulders slumped. I watched his figure fade into the distance, my heart still as water. It was over. Completely. The days that followed were peaceful. Each morning, I made breakfast with my mom, then spent time reading or chatting with friends. In the afternoon, we took walks in the park. At night, we watched dramas together. Sometimes Eric would message me, asking to see the baby, and I'd always say yes. He'd meet us at the park, play with the baby for a while, then quietly leave. He always brought toys or clothes, looked at the baby with deep tenderness, but never once mentioned getting back together. A few months later, I gave birth to a healthy baby boy. His eyes looked like mine, and his nose resembled Eric's. I named him Anan, meaning peace, because that's all I ever wanted for him, to grow up safe, healthy, and loved. Eric came to the hospital to see him. When he first held Anan, he cried silently, cradling him as if afraid he might break. From that day on, Eric never missed a child support payment. He visited regularly and even brought my mom fruits and supplements from time to time. Though we'd never be together again, at least he had taken responsibility. And for Anan, that was something. Now, Anan is 6 months old. He recognizes faces, giggles, reaches out with tiny hands for me to hold him. My mom helps me care for him, and I've started doing part-time remote work. It doesn't pay much, but it's enough for the three of us. Life is simple, but it's happy. Sometimes I wonder, if I'd never met Eric, would my life have turned out differently? But I don't regret anything, because everything I went through made me stronger. It taught me that a woman must rely on herself, must love herself, in order to live a good life. And I believe, with Anan by my side, I will build a brighter future. I will raise him in love and teach him to be a kind, confident, and responsible man. Well, that's all for today's story. If you like this video, please subscribe. We will continue to update more exciting stories and look forward to seeing you next time.